Hello, everybody. This is Peter Cipcowski, and I'm pleased to introduce another segment in a series of conversations with Roe Jan community leaders. And today we have the pleasure of chatting with Nicole Friedrich, who is the manager of the Copake Hillsdale Farmers Market, which is in the Roeliff Jansen Park. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi there, Peter. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. And I know you've been very busy preparing for the summer market, which is just launched. Congratulations! And I'd love to learn more about all of the planning that went into that under the pandemic. But let's start with a little bit of background on Nicole Friedrich. Tell us a little bit about your background and your integration into our community.
Well, I grew up in Dutchess County, so I was born in New York City, and my parents moved to Dutchess County when I was 5, and so I've grown up in the area. I've been living in Columbia County for the past 11 years, and I met my husband, and he lived here in Columbia County, so I sold my home in Hyde Park, and I moved up here, and we live in East Taconic, and I have 2 children, one that just graduated from SUNY Binghamton, and I have a little one who's in the 5th grade, and she attends Copake Hills.
Have you always been interested in farmers markets in particular, or have you been associated with farming in some way in your past?
Well, that's funny. My degree is in commercial art. I went to school for that, and then I became an occupational therapist, and I did that for a number of years. And when I moved up here, I had a baby and decided to stay home and raise her here. So I was home for about 5 years, and when she went to school, I thought, you know, this is my time to get involved in something in the community. And I had started my own garden here and started farming with my husband. We got a herd of boar goats, and I bought myself some chickens and learned how to can and bake bread, and I was really enjoying the homesteading lifestyle. And then when she went to school, pre-K, I decided that it would be a good time for me to get out into the community and find something to do. So the opportunity came up to be the market manager, and I kind of jumped on it.
That's wonderful. That's great. Now the farmers market, as it exists now, resides in the Roe Jan Park. I know it was not so long ago. I don't know, how long has it been in the park? 5, 6, 7 years, would you say?
We have been at the Roeliff Jansen Park for the past 7 years. Prior to that, the market really has been around for about 15 years. In 2005, Timmy Bates and Caroline Stewart put their brilliant minds together and thought that the community should have a farmer's market. And I guess they did some extensive research, and they got input from local farmers, and the Hillsdale Hamlet Park became the venue for the Hillsdale Farmers Market. And that operated Saturdays, every other Saturday, and I think they had about 8 to 10 vendors at that time. And at the same time, a few years later, Roberta Roll started her market in Copake, her farmer's market. And then 2 years later, the two decided to merge, becoming the Copake Hillsdale Farmers Market, and we reside now in the Roeliff Jansen Park.
Thank you for that history. Yeah, I remember very well both farmers markets, and it always seemed a little strange that our communities were divided that way. So it's great to have them united. and in a setting where there's plenty of parking, which was a problem certainly in the Hamlet Park.
Yes, and I think that the farmers, the vendors of the Hillsdale Farmers Market were sort of pushing to go every week, every Saturday. There was this growing demand for local food, and obviously they wanted to expand and grow the market, and I think that's why they researched a new venue where it could be held every week and accommodate more vendors. And so, yeah, the merging of the two was a great idea, great decision.
You know, and of course there's some infrastructure, right? No one has to pitch a tent.
Yes, that is, I mean, the venue that we have is ideal. It is the most magnificent venue anyone could ask for. The vendors, exactly, don't have to pitch a tent. There's ample parking. The park is just so wonderful. People come and they bring their dogs and they can explore the creek and they can hike the trails. So it's more than just coming to the market. It can be an all-day event for people.
Yeah, it's become a destination, and not just for the Copake Hillsdale community, but we know that people come from far and wide to get to the park market, take advantage of the trails in the park, and may go shopping or have some brunch in the neighborhood, which is pretty awesome.
Exactly. And I mean, even if you don't want to come to the market to shop, you can come on a Saturday and grab a cup of coffee and sit at one of our tables and listen to local music and from local musicians. And the last Saturday of every month, we host a number of artisans, so you can see what local artists are doing around in this, what they're doing in the area. And it's wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Is there more that you'd say about the philosophy of the Copake Hillsdale Farmers Market and how it distinguishes itself from other markets, other than this fantastic location?
Well, some markets are producer-only markets. We do allow resale of product at our market, and I think we're trying to remain. And a lot of markets also don't accept artisans into their markets. It's food only. But we found that listening to customers, listening to people in the community, what they want to see, we remain open to all those ideas. And I think the market is evolving and changing according to what people really would like to see. The market belongs to everyone. So, we want to listen to what people say and what they'd like to experience at the market.
And you always have a community table as well, I believe. What's the purpose of the community table?
So the community table is for anyone that wants to come to the market and educate our customers about their organization. For example, the Rail Trail often comes to our community table, and they let people know the progress of the rail trail. We've had people come that are landscapers and talk about beneficial weeds, and they've done walks up in the park. So any type of organization that kind of fits in with the whole market, we welcome them to come and explain what they're doing.
Let's talk about the farmers, the vendors that you serve. I mean, this has been a profoundly important outlet for them. Talk about that service.
So most of our farmers at our farmers market are within probably 20 miles of Hillsdale. And a lot of times what I've heard from them is that this market is their bread and butter. They rely on coming to this market and being able to connect with our customers and people that come to the market. They really rely on this outlet. A lot of times businesses we're sort of this launching pad for a lot of people that say, gee, I'd like to, start a business of some kind. I want to make cookies, or I want to start baking pies, and they apply, they apply to the market. It's sort of like a launching pad for a lot of people. And then they go on and they find other things to do. But generally, our farmers have been with this market, well, gosh, some of them go back when Timmy and Caroline started the market, and when Roberta started her market. So they've been with this market for 10, 12, 15 years. It's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. And I'm so glad to hear that we're going forward with plans this summer, to ensure that they have that outlet.
Yeah.
And it's a service for all of us. I mean, as customers who come to the market and want fresh local food. And as you said earlier, that's such a prominent component in life these days. We want things that are fresh and local.
Right. And I think people are really becoming more and more aware of the value of that, of the value of being able to go to this market and get so many products that are produced right here in this area. There's not a lot of places in the country where you can go where everything can be grown here or produced, meat and cheese and dairy and fruits and vegetables. We have it all right here. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of the value of that, the importance of that, and supporting these local farmers who want to keep doing what they're doing, but it's a tough business. It's really difficult.
And there's a spectrum of people who need to take advantage of the products there. In other words, I guess I'm trying to say, maybe some farmers market, maybe there was a stigma attached that maybe they were sort of reserved for people with, I don't know, extra cash in their products. How do you address the opportunity that we have in our community to make sure that our farmers market is serving everyone, and that folks with limited means understand the opportunity for them in Copake Hillsdale Farmers Market?
Well, that is definitely a challenge for our market, as well as probably some other markets. But we have several programs that are at the market that's, are for the underserved. We have a SNAP program, which is basically food stamps, and an individual can come to the market and swipe their EBT card and receive tokens. And with those tokens, they can go to any vendor in the market and make purchases that they want. And we also have a match program. The market matches dollar for dollar to those SNAP recipients up to $20 a week towards the purchase of fruits and vegetables. So the market does that until July, when the Double Up Food Bucks program goes into effect. And we received that 2 years ago through an organization called Field and Fork. And they received a grant funding through the Berkshire Taconic Foundation. And we are the only farmers market in Columbia County that has this program. And, word of mouth is really important, and we want people to spread this around, that our market does this, because there are so many underserved folks. And they might not know that this is what's happening at the farmers market. We also accept checks from the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which are checks that are distributed to the elderly who are on, low income, and families of low income. And they can use those throughout the market towards fruits and vegetables also. So we have a number of programs in place But it has been a challenge sort of getting the word out, that
Mm.
this is what's happening here, and you can come here. And what's great about our market is everything is not priced the same. You can really come to the market and shop around like you would at a grocery store. And you could compare prices and make good decisions based on, your income or.
Yeah, yeah. We have a guest behind you. How wonderful to see that guy with floppy ears.
There
Hi.
it is. There's my little guest.
Oh
Shying
boy.
away.
It's like, what's mom doing? Who's she talking to? Hey, listen, the pandemic has presented such a wall to us, and I'm sure that you and your team, and I know that it's a team of folks that you work with, have been very concerned about safety, and you have prepared a very thoughtful design and process. Tell us a little bit about the steps that you took to prepare to launch the market this summer under these conditions.
Well, leading up to the opening of the market, the New York State Farmers Market Federation, they were holding, who we belong to, our market belongs to them. They were doing a number of Zoom meetings with about 60 market managers from across the state. And we were meeting regularly, weekly on Zoom and talking about all the things that we are up against this season. And so this started, several months before a lot of the markets were scheduled to open. So leading up to opening day, we had really a real head start on what we needed to do in order to open. We're deemed essential, and so we had to prepare that protocol of what we were going to do, what vendor responsibilities there were, what we expect the public to do when they come to the market, what the market itself is doing. So there were a number of things that we already knew we had to do, and it was just implementing those things, getting prepared for opening day, making sure we have sanitizer, and making sure the space, the layout is correct, with proper spacing, and then getting that word out. And yes, it was a complete team effort with everyone on board, and we really, really worked hard this year.
Describe day one. Describe the opening that happened last weekend.
Oh my gosh. Well, day one, I think I was up the entire night before day one in my bed, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I was so anxious about day one. And day one came, and customers lined up 6 feet apart, just like they were supposed to. Everyone wore masks. Yes, everyone wore masks. Many people came in, washed their hands, used the hand sanitizer. Our vendors were spaced properly, so there was plenty of room for people to maintain that 6-foot distance. And it just went, it couldn't have gone better, really. So
that's wonderful. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And did the vendors make some money? Was it as trafficked as you would have expected it to be, or did COVID slow down the traffic a little bit? What do you think about that?
I think COVID did slow down traffic because obviously the whole social aspect of our market is no longer there. We're not allowed to have music, and we're not allowed to have tables set out for people to gather and to socialize. And we're not allowed to have the artisans right now. So there's a lot of change in the market. But we did have a great turnout, and I think for the most part, vendors were really, really happy. And I think they're just happy that we're allowed to be open and that people are wanting their products again. And the feedback that I saw on Facebook and social media was really positive. And I hope that it continues throughout the season. I hope people come out.
I think people will. Obviously, we are taking it a step at a time. And I think as people feel safer and know that the market is a safe environment, it is frustrating, isn't it, not to be able to be with our friends. And you're right, the market is such a social experience.
Mhm.
That element is different now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's a little sad, you know, we're a little sad about it because our market's not the same without, you know, music playing and people gathering and dogs and people hiking and all that, you know, making a real day of it.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll get back again. And
we will get there. And we
yes.
have to continue to use an abundance of caution until we know more. And it is what it is. And it's still providing an amazing service. And people can come to the park and take a hike with their families and shop for the things that they need in the market. And,
Right.
and from a distance, see their friends.
Yes, wave. Hello.
Yeah, it will crack open. Nicole, is there anything else that you'd like to share about the plans for the market this summer or the farmers market in general?
Well, we're just taking it, like you said, day to day, and we're keeping up with changes, you know, updates from the state on what we're allowed to do. And so we're not planning too far ahead. We're just kind of going along and we'll see what happens. But I still encourage people to come out and use the park and take your kids to the creek and take your dogs for a walk. It's just such a beautiful area over there. And I know that all of our vendors and the customers that frequent the market regularly just appreciate it so much. It's just such an integral part of our community and the vitality of our community. So I encourage people to use it because the market is yours. It's everyone's. It belongs to everyone.
And it's so good for us to shop local in every way. Nicole, thank you so much for taking time to talk about the market and yourself. And thank you for your leadership. I so appreciate, we all do, the impact of the farmers market in Copake and Hillsdale. And I know from other supervisors around the county how envious they are of not only the beautiful setting, but also the great process that you guys have set up, in particular during this pandemic. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Have a great day.
You too. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.